Welcome to Village in Motion this Wednesday, March the 4th. I'm Clint Lambert, and it's my pleasure today to have two of our very important dining people with us. We have Mary Smith, who is a dietitian, and we have Michael Ritt, who is our executive chef. They're here with us today, and they're going to be talking about all kind of different food from breakfast to dinner with us. And folks, welcome. We're glad to have both of you.
Thank you. It's good to be here. We're excited.
So a few things we just want to go over. Obviously, March, just a couple events that we have coming up.
Okay.
One thing that we have coming up this Friday, we have the very large sales marketing expo over in Hunter's Crossing. So just so everybody's aware that the bistro will be closed.
That's March the 6th, isn't it?
March the 6th is Friday. So just so everybody knows that the bistro will be closed because they're going to be using that area for the event.
Okay.
On the 11th, we're going to have the birthday cakes in all the lobbies. And, you know, it's been a great hit, so we kept continuing that. St. Patrick's Day, obviously big day coming up. So that day also, both Fireside and the Cafe will be holding their town hall. 10 to 11 for the Fireside, 11 to 12 for the Cafe. And that's going to be over in the Fireside dining room.
All right.
It's a great time to come out. Any questions? You want to know what's going on? Find out about things going on.
Are we going to get big cookies and everything that day?
If you come, no, of course. No, we'll have some refreshments.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then also that is St. Patrick's Day, so we'll be having lobby treats celebrating that, and we'll have some St. Patrick's Day specials in the dining rooms for that evening. Yeah.
Very good.
And for lunch.
Okay.
And then on the 18th, the next two things I'm going to let Mary talk about a little bit. First, this month, we have some interns from Virginia Tech,
dietetic interns.
Dietetic interns here, and they're going to be actually over here in Woodland Skies for most of their time. And I'm going to let Mary talk a little bit about what the process is and what they go through while they're here.
Okay. And before you do that, Mary, I just want to remind everybody, this is a call-in show, 703-663-3333. Give us a call, ask a question about what's going on, okay? All right, Mary.
All right, well, I'm glad to be back. So March is National Nutrition Month, and like Michael said, we do have dietetic interns with us. So I was once a dietetic intern, so to become a dietitian, you do 4 years of undergraduate studies in nutrition, Bachelor of Science in Nutrition, and then you have to be accepted into an accredited program through a university called a dietetic internship. Once you get accepted into that, it's a year-long process, and you go through several rotations. You're completing research, quality improvement projects, clinical experience, community experience, and then there's also food service experience. So these interns were actually here at Garden Ridge with us in the fall. Doing clinical.
I remember them.
And then now in the spring they'll be here for food service. So they will be at Woodland Skies, and they'll actually. So if you see them in the dining room, say hi. But they'll also be on Channel 6 at the end of March doing a little segment. Their first day was yesterday, so we're going to let them get comfortable here before we throw them on TV.
Sounds good.
So they'll adjust.
Well, you've got a variety of foods here with us talking about dietitians and dietetics. What is this, sugar and creams?
So perfect. So it is National Nutrition Month. So I did want to, for the start of it, I wanted to do something that the residents could do in their home, just to kind of talk about ways to be nutritious at home. But also the theme of National Nutrition Month is bite by bite. So bite by bite, how can you improve your diet and improve your overall health? So I thought, okay, let's go through a very simple beginning of the day to the end of the day. We got something for breakfast, a snack, and then a meal that you can use for lunch or dinner.
Okay. And another, just to go on about this, obviously we know, it's flu season. We also know what's in the news, the coronavirus, and at times if you're not feeling well and you see that I'm going to stay in, these are some things that you can do in your apartment, and also some healthy items that'll help, fight it, or maybe help build up your immune system.
This kind of looks like what I would have if I wanted to have something in the apartment, because if it doesn't come in a can or can't be nuked, I mean, I don't need it.
So that's actually the one of the reasons we chose these items, because you can get them. So I'm going to walk through how you can buy them in store and how you can store them and how long they'll last as well. But I also want to mention that this whole demonstration was inspired by the amount of independent living consults I've had in the past 2 months of residents who just found found out that they're pre-diabetic or they're diabetic and they want to lower their A1C. So everything here that we're going to do, I'm going to have an example of ways to make it low carb or higher in carb depending on your medical needs. Again though, I mean not again, but as always, you can check it. It's all going to depend on your weight, your height, and how much insulin you're on. But this is also good if you're not even a diabetic because everything we're going to show here is healthy. And again, I'll walk through it bite by bite as we go. Okay.
Man, also, a lot of diabetics are diet controlled.
Yes,
Correct.
you don't even have to get on insulin.
Right.
That's a very good point. Yes.
Okay.
Thinking ahead of me.
We're going to start here.
All right. So. All the consults I'll say, what's the first thing you do in the morning? Without a doubt, it's always coffee or juice. But so I do want to demonstrate coffee. Now, one thing I will say about having coffee at home is I recommend knowing how much coffee your mug holds, how many ounces. Because especially if you have chronic heart failure or your body is retaining onto fluid, you don't want to just assume, oh, my mug is 1 cup.
Right.
I recently did an IL consult and she said, oh, it's a cup, and we measured it out. It was actually 2 cups. Because depending
the mugs
on
are bigger.
Mugs are bigger. Now these are ones that we have from our dining room, so they're smaller. They're about 6 ounces.
Correct.
But again, the mugs that you can get at Starbucks or just the fun ones that you can design yourself with your grandkids' pictures on them, those are typically 8 to 12 ounces.
The ones we have in the lobby are 12-ounce cups. So just so everybody knows, those are 12-ounce cups.
Those are 12-ounce cups that are in the lobbies where we can get coffee.
Yes.
Where we get the lobby coffee.
In the dining rooms, they're 6 ounces.
Yes.
Correct.
All right.
So to kickstart your day, so again, if you have chronic heart failure, knowing how much fluid your cups actually hold is a very good trick. So coffee has no carbs, but where are we adding the carbs? Another thing that I have found recently that we are just adding a lot of creamer.
Oh, yes.
So I just happened to grab some ones from the dining room because I was like, okay, all the residents will be familiar with this, but we're also very familiar with the large containers that we can get from the store. So these here can hold up to at least 4 grams of sugar each. And you're doing 1, 2 of these in each one, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, your coffee is 1 carb choice. And you have, before you've even eaten anything.
And that's just your 1 cup. I don't know about everybody else. I probably have 3-4 cups of coffee a day. And maybe more. And a lot of us, we drink coffee throughout the day.
Absolutely.
How many calories are in one of these?
I don't know the specific one for just one, but I would be willing to guess 30.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
20 to 30 calories.
Wow.
So
because they're heavy cream, so it's that fat concentration. So
just to put it in perspective, it was funny. When I had my knee replacement
no.
a year ago, I didn't drink coffee for 2 months because I wasn't at work. And I lost about 15 pounds. And we were talking about it because I really didn't change any habits except that was the one habit. And I'm notorious for putting French vanilla or cream in my coffee.
He puts a lot of cream and sugar in it. Not anymore. But another way to cut down on the sugar in a coffee is using a sugar substitute instead. Now you can buy these in bulk in the store. We also have some in our dining rooms available to our residents. They're the colored packets. So now these are a lot sweeter than regular sugar, so I would kind of recommend starting slower and figuring out your taste preference and trying them out.
And some of them are better in one thing than another,
yes.
right?
And I actually have another Channel 6 segment where I go through each of these colors individually. I'm sure we can find it on YouTube and we'll be able to rewatch it if you want more detail. But for the sake of time, that's just again, that's just again like one way we could have already had a carbohydrate without even knowing it.
Exactly.
And they're color coded for a reason: pink, blue, and yellow. And a lot of the residents, they just say, do you have any more of the yellow? Do you have any more of the pink? Because they've associated, I use this one, they know what it is. So
and that's
that
good.
helps out too.
And then you've got some nice berries.
Yes, so that's how most residents have been starting their day. I do recommend getting at least 1 cup of water in there too. Again, take everything with a grain of salt because you might have different health needs such as chronic heart failure.
I don't drink coffee, and so I drink 16 ounces of water every morning.
Good for you. So. I try to do that too. So before we move on though, actually another thing is juice. So we found out how much sugar you can put in coffee. Juice is the same way. Like you can get a lot of sugar in juice. There's no fiber in it. So we're going to talk about a way that you can add the same vitamin C, get fiber, and less sugar.
All right.
So one of the things I wanted to demonstrate is this is going to be a quick, easy breakfast for residents at home if they're in their apartment because they're not feeling well. But also, a lot of times residents don't come out to the dining rooms until it's dinner time. So something quick and easy that you can have as a snack or for breakfast. So we do have some yogurt here. I have a vanilla flavor. Now, yogurt, you can buy in the grocery stores in like individual containers, which is what I recommend for residents at home.
That's typically about 80 to 100 calories,
yes,
right?
Exactly. And they're about 6 to 8 ounces as well.
Right.
And the beauty of those is that it's already pre-measured for you. So you don't have to worry about that. It'll already, the nutrition label will already tell you the carb count in it. Now, if you are a diabetic or you're somebody who is just watching their sugar intake in general, I recommend getting the original flavor because there's no added sugar to
good
that.
Point. Good point.
So Michael, if you want to scoop some of that yogurt,
Absolutely.
and I'm going to talk about the benefits of the berries and why I recommend berries and yogurt, or you could even do cottage cheese. Cottage cheese and yogurt are great sources of protein. Protein is really important for helping keeping that immune system strong.
Right. And that's the reason, Michael, isn't it, that we have the protein, the cottage cheese and peaches as one of our choices.
Absolutely.
That's my favorite.
And we also, you know, if you have the fresh fruit for your appetizer, you can always have it as one of your dessert options too. And one thing we had our focus group that we're going to look into is whole fruit. And available in places like the cafe that sometimes I don't want, but can I get a whole fruit, you know, apple, peach, banana.
Exactly.
Just to go into the fruit, and we talked about this the other day, one of the layers of protection that we do here, and everybody always asks me, and some residents didn't even know we do this, every bit of our produce that comes through here is washed in an antimicrobial bacteria wash.
Which is the best there is.
It is, and it's digestible, so don't worry about it. It's diluted very small amounts, but what it does is obviously our purchasing, who we purchase from, and the companies that we purchase from have a great layer of protection in there. Erickson just takes it another step. Why? Because that's what we want to offer. We want to provide that healthy eating. And it takes off any bacteria that's been left on the produce. It goes through this wash, and then it's there for service.
Sounds good.
So berries are great because they're lower in sugar compared to apples, bananas, and they also just kind of blend better with yogurt. Michael, if you wouldn't mind filling both of those up with yogurt.
Yes.
And one of the benefits of berries over other fruits as well is that they're very high in citrus, so that vitamin C. So again, important with the flu season, colds, and just keeping your immune system nice and strong.
Good.
So not only do we have a high protein base, we're going to add some citrus to it to keep the vitamin C in there.
Nice strawberries.
Yeah, I know, right? I want to eat them all right
beautiful blueberries.
now. Yeah.
Yes.
And so now, this would be great for somebody who's just a nice morning snack. This is a very small portion of it. Of course, you can do something bigger. A great snack, and then you can also get this fruit frozen at the grocery store. And the reason I recommend frozen is because it's going to last a really long time. It's the same nutrition value. So there's a big myth that like a frozen fruit is not as good as fresh fruit. That's not true. And then a benefit of it is, especially if you're going to do an original yogurt that has no added sugar to it, when you microwave that frozen fruit, and then it kind of melts a little bit, then you get more of the liquid, and that sugar, the natural sugar from that fruit melts in there. You can stir it into that yogurt, and you've naturally sweetened your yogurt.
Superb idea.
Yeah.
And Mary brought up a good...
Cheaper, full of vitamin C, and a great snack. Great berries, low in sugar, so great for diabetics.
And Mary brought up a great point about frozen produce. A lot of times people are like, oh, you know, frozen broccoli. Well, when you cut broccoli off the stalk, a lot of the nutrients are in the vine. And when you cut it off the vine and it's a raw product, it starts losing those nutrients right from that day. Think about where it has to travel. Now, when produce is frozen, it's frozen right at the site. A lot of times they cryovac it, they flash freeze it right at where they harvest it. So what that does is it traps the nutrients in, and I guarantee that there's more nutrients, and a lot of people, this is a myth, that there are more nutrients in frozen product. Now, I understand people, you know, I like a fresh over frozen. That's true, but nutrient-wise, once you take something off its vine, that's its source of nutrients. So.
Good point.
And so another thing I want to demonstrate with the beauty of yogurts in the parfait is that because you can customize it and personalize it to your flavor preference, but also based off of maybe your weight or how much medication you're taking, maybe you need more carbs to maintain your weight, you can add things to make it a little bit higher in carbs and calories, which I know, and it's hard to believe. People are like, well, not everyone, no, we don't need to do that, but there are people here who actually do that are having a hard time keeping weight on, and they can't afford or No one wants to spend a lot of money on all these like insurance and stuff like that. So let's find some ways that you can easily do it that's very tasty. So adding granola, and I do recommend kind of measuring out how much you want to do.
Granola is really high in calories.
It is, but again, some people as you get older, your appetite's decline, so maybe you're losing weight. So you want to figure out how can I, maximize my calories without increasing the volume so much that when I see my plate, I'm so overwhelmed with how much I have to eat. That's why I would recommend granola as one of those snacks, because like such a small amount is actually pretty high in calories.
So what you're saying is have a cup of coffee, have a parfait.
Yeah.
And then what?
There you started your morning.
Yeah, started your morning.
Start to your morning.
Another benefit of the yogurt, or if you want to do cottage cheese instead, is that it's very high in probiotics. So keeping that gut health, which is also very important during flu and cold season. Having a really healthy gut can help prevent germs and some really sinking in and taking grip of you.
Okay.
So not only is this very nutritionally balanced and helpful for you, it also helps build up your immunes and get you ready during flu and cold season.
Right.
All right, and so the snack that I wanted to come up with is a snack that won't expire for a really long time, and you could take on the go with you. So if you have a doctor's appointment, maybe you're going out to the store and you're just hungry. So we came up with a trail mix idea. Now trail mix is great. We're going to personalize it mainly with nuts and dried fruit. So these nuts have a great source of the healthy fats, which is wonderful. So I have some walnuts here, and I have some pecans in here. And again, if you buy these in bulk, you can keep them in your cabinets at home, and these are going to be good for like a year at least. Okay. So that's a benefit of that.
Except for pecans, and they will start to get stale closer to the year's mark in regards to it. I grew up in the South, and I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully you're not keeping items that long.
Right.
When you purchase, make sure you're just purchasing enough for what you need. And I'll tell you one thing nowadays in the stores, there's always smaller sizes, pack sizes.
Which is nice. But you also have some raisins, or is that dried?
These are dried cranberries. So I recommend the dried cranberries or dried raisins over something like a dried apricot, just because the apricots are a lot bigger. And if you're watching your sugars and you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, that's going to hold a lot more sugar and carbs than something very small would.
But a natural sugar, though, is better than a processed sugar.
It is natural, but when you dehydrate it, it's becoming very concentrated.
Okay.
So it won't.
Good point.
Yeah. So it won't fill you up as much, and it's just higher than you think overall.
Right.
So again, just something smaller. Now this is obviously a very small portion of it, but I have a big bag, and that's just another thing that you can do to kind of portion control. Like, do you need a big bag, or do you want to get a snack bag that's half the size of this and kind of helps you keep it in control?
And if you're waiting for a medical appointment, whatever, then you can
take it with you. And this is great because, like, let's say you don't want to bring it in, you can keep it in the car, and just lots of benefits to it. Okay. Also high in protein. I'm a big fan of protein, so we'll do that. All right. Okay.
And then, so we are up to lunch hour.
We're up to lunch hour, so we have a couple of options. You can do this for lunch or for dinner. It can also be a snack. Okay. Now, I am a huge fan of sandwiches, and I think that, I probably am a very big fan of sandwiches. And I think that when I do a lot of consults, I'm surprised that a lot of residents don't take advantage of the easiness to make a sandwich. You can, if you're able to use your stove, you can make it a grilled cheese, even make it nice and warm, and it's just something that you can customize it and personalize it so much that you can enjoy it to whatever you want. So now I do have wheat bread, because the wheat bread, it takes your body longer to digest it. So it keeps you fuller longer, but it also has a slower effect on your blood sugars. Okay. So when you eat wheat bread, your blood glucose is rising slower than it would, a piece of white bread.
Michael, in the cafe, before we modernized it, they were serving a bread that was a whole wheat, a multi-berry or something.
Multi-grain, multi-grain bread.
Do we still have that?
We should still have that with the wheat berry. We have different types of breads.
Is that more nutritious than just the wheat berry?
I don't think
Which one is
the multi-grain, the 7-grain. It was a 7-grain bread.
The equivalent.
And then we had a wheat berry bread, and then obviously we have the white bread and the rye bread. But it was a 7-grain bread.
Okay.
So again, you can start putting some mayonnaise on this now. Sure. Mayonnaise, just a little bit, just because a benefit of mayonnaise. I'm just going to kind of go over the whole, all the benefits that you can get from it.
We got about 8 minutes.
If you have difficulty chewing or biting, condiments are a great way to soften your food, making it easier. So mayonnaise is a great way to add it. Add something that can make it a little bit softer to chew.
Okay.
And then if, let's say, you have a lot more difficulty, just take off the crust around the bread, and it also become a lot easier to chew.
And you really don't need to lose that much nutrition if you take the crust off, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and again, it's because if it's a safety reason, like you don't want to choke and you just want to still get some good healthy calories in, that's an easy option to do that. Right. Now bread, I keep it at home. I keep it in the freezer and defrost 2 pieces as I use it. Just kind of thinking like, how can I maximize the length of time that this will be good for?
Yeah, anywhere you can take the oxygen out, you know. My mother-in-law uses this thing called lock and locks or Tupperware or whatever. If you put your bread in those containers, it'll definitely keep it.
It'll stay longer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
then you got some good cheeses there.
We got some great options of cheese and meat. Now, the reason I think, again, that this is underutilized by residents is because these are not carb choices. They're great. They're high in protein. They're good in your healthy fats.
Right.
The only thing I will recommend for residents is if you go to the grocery store, I recommend going to the deli itself and getting it freshly cut because it's less sodium in it as opposed to
have all the preservatives.
Correct.
Right. All those processed. I'm sorry. All those processed when you get those pre-packaged. If you go to Aldi or Giant or Safer or wherever. It's convenient, but you give up for that convenience. The reason they can last for a month or 2 is because of the nitrates and some of the products that
so it's truly better living through modern chemistry.
Yeah, yes.
If you look at it that way.
So if you are going to buy from the deli for the first time, I do recommend starting with a lower amount because it does go bad faster, but it's because it has less of that sodium and preservative in there. So Michael, if you want to assemble a sandwich for us, and while he's doing that, I'm also going to talk about some other National Nutrition Months we have, events going on this month.
As he's doing that, you mentioned the organic foods.
Yes, so I was going to do the peanut butter one for last because it's my favorite.
Okay. All right.
Get ahead of me. Okay, I'm just kidding. So, of course, today we're on Channel 6 doing this demo. We also are going to have all throughout the month of March, we have something that we're calling Dietitians in the Dining Room. And what we've done is we've created little bite-by-bite size information, little posters that are going to be displayed in the dining room of foods that are available on our menus, just a little bit of a nutrition snippet of the benefits of it, and then what kind of health condition may benefit from eating this food.
Wonderful.
I do have some slides that'll be an example on the screen right now of what we're going to be showing. We have now they will be different at each venue. So if you want to explore throughout the month of March to see what's being presented at another venue, we encourage that.
They'll be presented throughout the dining hour.
They will be. It's going to be up 24/7 throughout the month of March.
All right.
Yep. And every dining room is going to have something a little bit different. So we encourage you to go walk around and see what you can learn.
All right.
And so that's all of this month. And then next week at Woodland Skies, we're having something called the Bite by Bite menu review. And so we're doing this in partnership with our Virginia Tech interns. And what this is, we get a lot of feedback saying like, why is there heavy cream in this item? Why is, this here and this there? So what we're going to do is we're breaking down the menu as if you're somebody who needs to gain weight, because there are actually a lot of residents here that do need to gain weight. And we're breaking down the menu bite by bite if you want to maintain your weight. And then we're breaking down the menu bite by bite if you want to lose weight. So we're using the same menu that you see every day, and we're going to show you options of what you can do to meet any of those goals.
Wonderful.
So Bite by Bite menu review at Woodland Skies, and that is going to be on March 12th, which is a Thursday, from 4:30 to 6 in the dinner hour. And we'll be there. We hope we see everyone there too.
And I tell people, take advantage of these opportunities. A lot of people always have questions, and I'm like, here you can get some great advice, some great information. And it's at the perfect time when you're going to dinner.
So one last one, sorry.
Sure.
I keep cutting people off, and I'm so excited about these events, that's why. So now everything I've mentioned so far, it's okay, we're either here, we're either there, but like when am I going to come to you? And that's going to happen March 18th. We have a Mythbusters wheel. So Helen and I, who are the other dietitians, we are partnering with the Embrace Wellness Committee, and we will be walking around campus with a wheel that both employees and residents will get to spin, and you'll have a nutrition myth or a health myth on there, or fact. You get to tell us if you think it's a myth or a fact, and we're going to help you debunk it. And there are going to be prizes, but that's where we're going to be going around campus and Garden Ridge all of that day. And we're really excited for it, so we hope that you guys keep your eye out for us.
What day is that?
That is going to be March 18th, which is a Wednesday.
Day after St. Patrick's, when everybody had their corned beef and cabbage.
There you go.
Yeah, that's how you can remember it.
If I could just add something, I think
please.
both Mary and Helen do a phenomenal job.
Thank
And,
you.
know, I've said this many times, and
Yes.
I think a lot of these little events and activities they do, I think the residents have definitely learned a lot. And I always say, take advantage of it. When you see them out there doing their Mythbusters or their tabling, please take advantage of it.
And ask questions.
Ask questions.
Absolutely.
Ask questions. And if you have a question about the menu or a personal question about what I should eat or what I shouldn't eat, please take advantage of that.
Okay.
Absolutely. So that being said, we do independent living consults, which again inspired this whole demonstration
Right.
here. So you can consult us. There's a $60 fee, which I know some people think is
Right.
outrageous, but actually we have a specialized degree, and outside it's a lot more money. I used to work for a private practice, and it was $200 per appointment.
And you came to work here?
Well, yeah, I didn't see a lot of that money because it was for a private practice. So, so anyway, back to these sandwiches. Just to wrap up, another benefit of doing a sandwich, depending on what your goals are, if you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to lower your A1C, a benefit of a sandwich is, okay, here's a sandwich here. I'm just going to take the top off, and I have an open-faced sandwich.
Right.
Just
So you've lost some calories?
Lost some calories, lost a carb choice, still got high in protein,
Right.
still got some healthy fat on there because of the cheese, so it's like easy, personable, personalize it to your needs.
Michael, I always think it's very interesting looking at the menu that comes out, the master menu, and when you look at the calorie count, and if you look at things and you see bread with them, you can automatically take 150 calories off.
And that's a beautiful thing about signature dining. If you want a sandwich, especially the burgers, I always tell, if you want the burgers and you're like, you know what, can I just get the turkey burger without the bun? Absolutely, you can do that, or the hamburger, or a chicken breast. Yeah. If you're getting, a sandwich. And just either you want to do it open face. If you want to do it open face.
Open face. I personally do open face. I can't do breadless because I enjoy it.
You still have a little bit of the bread in there.
You still have it.
But you decrease the sugar by decreasing the bread.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now let's say you have a little bit more of a sweet tooth though, and that just doesn't quite captivate your needs.
Right.
So I really, really recommend employees and residents to get no added sugar peanut butter. I have an example here. I love this peanut butter. You can get it at Giant, you can get it at Wegmans, you can get it at Whole Foods, but I will just ask you to look for the sugar on the back. It'll say how much added sugar there is. You want to look for 0 added sugar. And the reason I want everyone to do that is because peanut butter is so naturally sweet that we do not need that added sugar.
Right.
And you're adding a lot more carbs by just getting that other option of sugar, other option of peanut butter. And so Michael will put together a little sandwich for us. Again, you can make this open face, you can close face it. You can do it with jelly, but again, I just did it with peanut butter because I think peanut butter is such an enjoyable
just in
taste.
and of itself.
And I can tell you, being a parent, this has been a lifesaver. Sometimes, listen, I've made peanut butter and we did peanut butter and jelly. We put jelly in it, or just peanut butter sandwiches at dinner.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want to eat? And it's sometimes, and they're fine.
And benefits of peanut butter, again, it does last long. And if you're going to a doctor's appointment or you're headed out, it will last without being refrigerated for a couple of hours, so you don't have to worry about that. So just that easy on the go snack, very healthy. I think that if you're being very cautious and you don't want to gain weight, I would recommend measuring out how much peanut butter you're putting on it, because it is higher in calories, because nuts are higher in calories, and this is just blended nuts. So you want to use 1 table to 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. But yeah, it's a great option.
Have a question.
Voila, a feast of the day.
It looks wonderful. Have a
and
question.
Just going back to the parfait, it's not just for breakfast. If you want to have one at night for your dessert, or if you have the fresh fruit, a little bowl of fresh fruit.
After dinner.
Absolutely.
No.
Did you have a question?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Sorry.
No,
We just get so excited.
With the sandwiches, you're always cutting them straight across. What about diagonal?
You can
Does it
cut
make a difference?
That doesn't change the nutrition at all.
Yeah, cut them corner to corner.
corner, cut
Sometimes we'll do
off the
corner to corner.
crust.
Makes it look pretty, stacking them.
Well, and then also when you're talking about stacking them, when you do the club sandwiches, you're putting a lot of calories in there, a lot of carbs in there in regards to it. So you take out those layers of bread.
Take out the third slice of bread.
Yeah.
If you want, obviously it's not a club sandwich anymore, but if you want to lower your calories, you can do that.
Great.
Okay. Well, folks, this has been marvelous. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And I assume the host gets the leftovers?
Absolutely.
I think you might have some other people here who might
we'll
crowd
share
the table.
It,
All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for having
and
me.
please
Thank you,
come again.
thank you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.